Ball players, what's going on? It's your boy Arden here, coming live from Columbia University. I got a lot of history here, and the person to the left of me is a big reason why. We got head coach Megan Griffith here from the women's basketball team. Let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Ball players, again, we're here at Columbia University. For me, this place is really dope just because, just to give you a little backdrop, right? Been working in media for over 10 years. A good portion of them as a writer. And I remember at that time, for me, this is like 2016, 2017. I'm looking for an opportunity to cover games and cover teams. And shout out to Kyle. You know, he was one of the very first people to give me an opportunity to cover a team. Yeah. And we have a lot of fun memories here. And Coach, I got to tell you, you were one of the first coaches who genuinely treated me with respect and was very open-minded to letting this little old writer ask you questions about the game. Even when I was coaching full-time on the side, you gave my team a chance to talk to you after a practice when we used to practice here. And to give y'all a breakdown of who I'm talking to, we're talking to somebody who, we could go back to college, junior year, top 25 in the nation in assists, one of 9 Lions to score over 1,000 points. During her coaching career, racked up wins, helped players develop across the Ivy League level and beyond. And now we're talking about engineering an emerging and thriving Lions program. 18-4 right now, legitimate shot at making March Madness, got players that are very much capable of taking it to the next level and beyond, and it's always fun watching you coach. It's always fun watching you do your thing, and I'm excited that you're on the Ball Players podcast. Megan Griffith, what's up?
What's up, man? No, it's exciting to do this with you, you know? Like, we've got history, and, you know, I always said, like, you know, if I can make time for you, I'm always going to do it. So I'm grateful to see you doing your thing. You know, I'm back where we kind of started our relationship together right here on this court, figuring things out. And, you know, I'm excited to talk about the game. You know, I love the game, and, you know, that's why I'm here.
Thank you. Again, it means a lot to us, seriously. The Ball Players faithful, y'all going to appreciate this. Coach, we have this reoccurring question that we start the series with that we enjoy the most. Okay. What made you fall in love with basketball?
Ooh. That's an easy one for me, right? So, one, my father played, you know, various levels, but he was just a sports guy, right? And I believe when I was young, and I have an older sister, we were always kind of put into organized sports settings, right? Or even just like in the playground, like, you know, you're playing with people down the street. That was kind of, I grew up in a suburb environment where it was easy to like walk out your door and go play with other people, right? So I would just say, like, from an early age, I was very active. And then I think when I started getting like introduced to sports, basketball, you know, I think it was like there was less people on the court, so like soccer was like not really my thing. It was like there was one ball for like 20 some kids running around. I'm like, I'm not doing this, you know, I don't touch the ball enough. So with basketball, it was easy for me because it was, you know, one ball. The game seemed to like really be able to bring people together, and I love team sports. So, you know, I could compete with people. People could challenge me. I could make my teammates better. You know, once I saw success, it was really easy to stick with it, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, you know, the game, I fell in love with it at a young age, but definitely when I first played my first team, for sure I was locked in.
Mm-hmm. Coming from Pennsylvania, right, and for me, I always enjoy being able to talk with people with basketball backgrounds from across the country because it's always fun learning about the basketball culture. So for you, coming from PA, how would you describe the average hooper that comes from your home state?
Ooh, I think it's changed, but when I was growing up, like, you know, I grew up in the era of like watching the Sixers really thrive, right, in the 90s, and like even before that, like, and my dad's from Ridley, Pennsylvania, and like he grew up in like Dr. J era, you know, like, so Philly basketball was always something that was talked about, right, and I believe that, you know, the Philly hooper like had handles, had vision, you know, they could cross you up. So the game was a little bit of that street ball mix into it too. But you know, the ideal or the classic Philly hooper, I don't know if it's the same now watching players play, because I think the game's changed pretty dramatically. But you know, it was like the Dawn Staleys of the world, the Allen Iversons of the world. You had like a big swag bag, you know, and you had handles for sure. So that was something I grew up watching, and that was something I tried to emulate when I played.
To follow up, you come from King of Persia?
King of Prussia.
Prussia.
Yeah, King of Prussia.
Damn it, I was working on that, bro. Going to the
it's
car
okay,
ride,
man. Everybody's like, where are you from? I'm like,
but I want to get into that as well, right? Just because for me, I'm always intrigued about not only just the mentality of just a state hooper, but more so coming from where you come from, right? Again, we know of Philly. We know of Pittsburgh. But coming from where you come from, was there always, whether it's from you or maybe the hoopers community there, us against the world mentality for folks trying to make it out?
Yeah, you know, It was. Like, I think Philly has that edge to it, right? I mean, you can see it in our professional sports teams. I mean, you go to a Philadelphia Eagles game, you go to a Sixers game, especially the Eagles. I mean, it's like there's a jail in our our facility, right? You know, so yeah, I do think, you know, and people always say like Philly, it's like the city of brotherly love, but at the same time, it's like they're quick to turn on you, right?
100%, without question.
So, absolutely, that mentality of like you got to be able to make it out, kind of thing. I think that is definitely something that I was around and influenced by in my like upbringing through sports, for sure.
Obviously, for the folks that know Coach Griffith, they know you as a coach, but like I gave you your flowers in the intro, you was hooping. You was a bucket. You was a dime dropper. You feel me?
Man.
So, but for you, right, obviously you had the chance to play all three levels, high school, college, and pros.
Yep.
Do you remember that exact moment or period of time in your life where you was like, I think I want to give coaching a try?
Yeah, I do. I was like a summer league game, so I was, you know, I played all the time, like all year round, all the time, and I remember being a young kid in the game and just having a good feel for the game, like knowing what was needed, right? Like I think that's like what the classic or like prototypical point guard would say about themselves. It's like you just know what's needed, right? You need to go get a bucket, go get a bucket. You need to set up your shooter. You get into the post, right? And I was in like a summer league game and I think I was like right like at the end of my college career. And people had said, like, you should think about coaching. And I was like, I'm going into finance. Like, I got to go make some money now. You know, I went to Columbia for a reason, right? But, like, we were in the end of a game, and it was a close game. We're in, like, the series of the playoffs. And, like, I'm drawing up the plays and everything. And not that I wasn't doing that, but I was, like, giving structure to our team and strategy. And at that moment, I was like, dang, like, I'm good at this, you know? And so I just kind of put it on hold for a little bit. I kept playing and was able to come back to it, you know, in 2010. And here I am still doing it.
Not only still doing it, but freaking thriving and getting comfortable. And I want to get into, because I feel like it's definitely a conversation that's often had in sports, right? Not only just having a head coaching job, but coaching at your alma mater, right? So for you, you played here, graduated from here, you had success here, and now you are responsible for building up a program. What is something that you think the general public who looks at these things and talks about it, what is one thing you think people overlook when it comes down to folks who graduated from a school and decide to come home to coach in any capacity, especially when they're a head coach?
Well, I think the thing that we know as the alum, right, or as the person coming back home is like the passion you have for a place. I don't know if people quite understand that, right? And I know other coaches that have coached their alma maters, and it's just different the way you see the campus, the way you see the student athlete in the campus. Like, you know, when I'm here, like I even said it, like I know it's going to be a different job if there's a different job for me, right? If I ever coach somewhere else, I just don't know if I'd be able to see it the same way, you know? And that doesn't mean it doesn't matter. Like I still want the best for the student athlete. All my players, you know, the goal is way beyond just like what we're doing on this court, right? But I do think that there's that innate ability to, one, be connected within the community just because you did it. I literally went to camp. Walked on this campus. I went to the same classrooms as you. I read some of the same books as you. Yeah. And then too, like the locker room, like I made the same walk onto this court. This is my court. So I just think that innate connectedness is something that I think is obvious, but I definitely think can be overlooked in a coach.
Not only did you play, but honestly, and again, it's so funny because again, this is memory lane, right? It's like seeing you during a game is some of the most fun one can have, right?
Man, yeah,
especially when you're really locked in, or when you just know, I'm like, oh yeah, she's tight right now. Like I just know you're about to do something right. So I want to get to talking about like the thought or the reality of being a player's coach.
Yeah.
When you hear the term player's coach, what comes to mind for you?
Yeah. Well, to me, being a player's coach is being relatable, right? And like, to me, the only way you can relate is to be who you are. Yeah. And to me, it's like somebody that walked the walk, talked the talk. That's what I think players really connect with, right? And it's like you can hear your players and hear what they're saying and have that dialogue with them and be like and adjust. So I think that's like what I think of when I think of a player's coach, right? It's not just not necessarily like you played, but you're somebody that's there for them, to support them, make them better, challenge them. And, you know, I do think like the way I played basketball, because I'm at my best when I can physically express myself. Like it speaks volumes about how I treat my life, like the things in my life.
Are you still hooping?
I don't know. I mean, I don't play a lot anymore, but you know, it's like I think my personality comes out when I play, you know? No, man. You know, for me, I told myself when I was decided to start coaching, I was done playing. Right? And not like I'll get up, I'll get into practice, I'll hop in a drill, I haven't played pickup in years, but for me, it's like that's what I put everything into now. It's is this career, but yeah, no, it's players coach. That's important. You need to have relationships with your kids. If you want them to thrive, you need to know what makes them tick.
2 more questions I got for you, Coach.
Okay.
When it comes down to coaching trees as well as mentorship, right? And you've had an opportunity to, or your coaching staff have first-year coaches that have been around for a while, working towards their goal of being the head coach. What is the most important thing to you when you're able to lead a staff?
Well, one, you got to pick the right people, right? And that's hard to do, in your first job. I was lucky that, I picked the right person, and then I was able to build around that. So Tyler Cordell on my staff, we've been coaching together for, that's my sister. We've been coaching together for 11 years. It's crazy. Her 34th birthday was like 2 days ago or yesterday, and it's like, wow, we celebrated 11 birthdays together. I'm like, that's so unique. So not only did I pick the right staff, I picked the right person, and to build around that and know where your holes are, that's, I think, what's critical to be successful, right? Because you want continuity, you want stability, and you want the messaging to be the same time after time when you're trying to build a program. So your staff is everything. I mean, like, that's the team, that's your team that filters you, right? And so, I have a great staff. I've been able to hire great people too, as I've had turnover, which I haven't had a lot of it. So it's critical to being successful.
Last question I got for you, Coach.
Okay.
At the top of this episode, I asked you what made you fall in love with the game. To cap this off, what has kept you in love with the game?
Oof. Gosh, I love competing. I love it. There's nothing like it. Like, there's nothing like game day. There's nothing like planning a practice. There's nothing like putting everything you have into building something. And honestly, I do think it's intoxicating, like the whole thing. And it's like a job that you can't really describe. It's not cyclical either. Like there's things to it that are cyclical, but you're just like, it's an ongoing investment, and it's like work-life integration. It's not even balance. It's just like, this is my life.
Coach, seriously.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for this.
Absolutely.
Thank you for being on the Ball Players podcast. Yeah. I'm going to be here Saturday.
Okay.
Like usual. All right. It's that time of the year, Ball Players conference play.
Let's go.
It's lit.
Let's go.
You know what I'm saying? We got tickets to book. I'll say it. We got tickets to book in March. I want to go dancing with the squad. We got that.
Hell yeah.
But, Coach, seriously, thank you so much. Thank you for everything. I really appreciate it. Ball Players, thank y'all for tapping in with the latest episode of the Ball Players podcast, where we talk everything in basketball culture and beyond with our special guests. This your boy Arden here, signing off from Columbia University, presented by 1:37 p.m., where your curiosity is fulfilled and everything sports, Web3, fashion, music, pop culture, and beyond. Holla at y'all next time.